Welcome to the Lion's Den. I'd like to introduce you to my fighters who will be helping me instruct on the videotapes. Kneeling down to my right, Mike Burnett. Kneeling down to my left, Matt Rocca, both certified Lion's Den instructors. Standing to my far left, Pete Williams, two-time Hawaiian fighting champion. Frank Shamrock standing next to me, my brother, pancrase champion. Jerry Bollinger standing to my right, UFC light heavyweight champion. And myself, Ken Shamrock, two-time super fight UFC champion. We'd like to ask you in joining us in learning our fighting style. Take 2, basic submission out of the first 3 positions. Matt, let's begin. Okay, we're going to start with the position 1. We talked about this on the previous tape when we went over the 10 positions. Where we secure the head, the arm, and you put your weight on your opponent and make him carry your weight. Now we talked about the balance with the leg. This is your lever. This keeps you balanced. This keeps you post. This keeps the head up off the mat, keeps it from rolling. What I'm going to show you now is what someone would do in this position, in position 1. He's either going to bridge up, he's going to try and roll me over the top, or he's going to try and roll towards me. Well, out of each of those situations, I can do a submission hold. And I'm going to show you that one now. First thing we're going to start with is he's going to bridge up, and he's going to try and roll me forward. And as he does that, you'll see how this elbow kind of pops out. He gets a tight waist around my back. He's going to try and bridge up, move my body forward, but as he does that, this elbow is going to come forward a little bit. And that's going to allow me to take the palm of my hand, place it on my stomach, and slide it through to break the grip. Okay, so here we go. He's going to go ahead and do it. We'll go do it kind of slow so you can see the elbow moving. Okay, Matt, go ahead. Boom, the elbow comes up a bit. Okay, right from this point, I posted with my knee, posted with my elbow. I'm not going to get rolled from this position. I've got my lever here, so I'm not off balance. Now from here, after I've got my balance and I've got him controlled, I can go ahead and apply the submission. So what I do is I take the palm of my hand, I place it on my belly underneath his elbow, and I'm going to, what we call thread the needle, through his elbow onto his bicep, and you'll see my hand appear right here. Now I'm going to turn the hand over, grab the wrist, and it's snug in here. This is really snug. Right now, all I got to do is I have my balance, I got control, and all I'm going to do is just press on his bicep, push down, the hand pops off. Now I've broken his grip around my back. Now from here, I can go ahead and push the bicep down to my thigh, the hand pops out. This is what you have to remember. You don't got to go get that hand. That hand's not going nowhere. Reason being, Matt, straighten your arm out. I have the bicep here, okay? When I push down, I control the bicep. I push it down to my thigh, okay? I have not released my balance, and I've not released my control. I still have control. So therefore, I have the bicep pushed down to my thigh. Now from this position, okay? Bend your elbow again, Matt. Where was that? From this position, I have secured that arm. It's not going anywhere. Now I've got 2 options, okay? One, I could push the bicep down here, and I could, at the same time, lifting my ankle to hook the arm, okay? I keep my knee posted down on the mat so as I don't lose my balance and get rolled in the process of doing a submission. So what I do is I push down, I hook with my ankle on the top of his wrist, okay? And when I do this, I haven't lifted my knee up, nor my thigh up or my knee up, or lost the head here. I'm still maintaining balance right here in this position, okay? But now, I'm in the process of getting a submission hold. So now what I have to do is I have to take my left leg, okay? I've already secured the arm in the submission position. Now I have to apply it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my left leg, I'm going to hook it over the top of my toe behind my left knee. So what I do is I come up. I haven't lost my balance. I haven't lost my balance. So you got the knee post, the elbow, everything's still here. You got the head. I lift the leg up. I hook the toe right behind the knee, and I bend my leg around it. Once I have it here, I basically have a submission. Now I've secured the submission position. Now what I have to do is I have to apply it. And by applying it, I pull with my left leg down on my right toe, which puts pressure on the top of his wrist, pulling it away from his head. And I will do that. You'll see the movement. Boom. Okay, already it's tight. You can feel it. Now the next thing is when I want to put pressure on the elbow and the shoulder, I'm going to lock my hands together. There's several ways you can do it. You can do it this way. You can lock your fingers together, or, which is the one I prefer, is a thumb lock. You lock the thumb on the pinky. You lock it together. You pull the head away from the shoulder and up. Now the finishing touch on this is the hips. The hips is always your power point. I'm going to move him forward, and it ain't going to take much. When I move the hips forward, it's going to create a lot of pressure on his elbow and his shoulder. As you see there, the way it's moving against the joint. It's turning the shoulder this way, and it's popping the elbow out. And you're pushing down on the wrist. What makes this thing work is I'm pushing down with my leg, left leg, onto the toe, which is pushing down on my ankle onto the top of his wrist. And the hips are going the opposite direction. So therefore, the wrist is going this way, that way, and the elbow is going that way. So if you're doing that, all that's going to happen there is you're going to explode the elbow. And that's why it's so painful, and that's why this is a good submission. This is submission 1 from position 1. I'm going to show you another 2 ways to do the same hold. I won't get into as depth as it because I think I've got into enough of the balance and all that. But I'm going to show you 2 other ways to do it. He tried to roll me over, he tried to bridge and roll me over the top, over his head. And I'm going to show you another way where he tries to roll away from me. It's the same thing. Same thing. You hook, the hand palm goes down, you slide underneath the elbow. You got to get your secured position too. Head comes up off the mat, lock behind the knee. You got the 90-degree angle. You got your lever. The head up off the mat. And when he tries to roll me this way, okay, Matt, try and roll me. I post, okay. I see how I have my balance. Got my knee there, hand posted. Now, I can't go over. I got my lever here in case he tries to go me this way. I'll post over. Okay, so I'm balanced. Now, when I do this, what makes, you know, on the other one, it made the wrist pop up. On this one here, when he goes to roll me, and I post my hand this way, what happens is, when your hand comes up, your back thins out. Okay? So when your back thins out, you have air there. He doesn't have a snug. Now, if he started up snug up here, and I straighten my arms out, I have air now. The elbow automatically comes up. Why? Because I'm turning into it. Now, once I've blocked the roll, his next probably move is going to be back again. So when he moves back again, that elbow pops out even more. So once he pops back down, I slide the elbow in again. Boom. Right here, there's the hand. Grab the bicep, flex your lats, flex your biceps, push down on his bicep. Boom. It's broke. He does not have a grip now. Same thing from this position. I will continue on, posting the bicep down on my thigh. Okay? Now from this position, I'm going to also just go ahead. I'll reach up the wrist from here. I've got it posted. I'll go ahead and reach up. I'll grab it. Up. Same thing. Block with the ankle. Hook with the left leg over the right toe. Okay? I'm in submission position. Again, the same thing. Hips forward. Push down the toe. Lock the hands together. Pull away. Hips forward. Boom. Okay? I'll show you one more. Because there's only 2 ways that you can try and escape out of this position. One, I showed you, tried to roll me over the top. The other one was trying to pick me up and roll me over this way, over the side of his body. And the other one is to come towards me. And most of the time, if you get a skilled grappler, he's going to roll towards you. Reason being is because he's going to want to roll the leg up over the top and try and get a rear mount on you. By doing this submission hold, when he tries to do that, you can stop him from doing that. What we're going to do is we're going to start in the same position. You got the balance, everything's set. He's going to roll towards me. You got to keep the head snug. He rolls towards me. What happens? Look at there. That arm straightens out. Guess what? I got room. So I do the same thing. Palm flat, slide through, post on the bicep, pop it out. Guess where we're at again? We're in the same spot as we started. Every one of them are going to end just like this. and you can finish. Boom, 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 bam. That's position one, submission one, and you have a couple various different ways to lock the submission in depending on your opponent which way he wants to roll. Let's move on to position two. This is position two. We're going to show you one submission out of position two. We'll show you a couple different ways to enter into it, but it's the same submission. It'll be just different reaction on your opponent. Either he rolls towards your way, and we'll give you different ways to hook it. So we're going to start by, first of all, you got to get your balance as usual. Almost on any position you're in, you got to maintain balance. So we'll get in position here. Okay, thing is, elbows down. Now, I'm working for a submission now, so obviously if I'm going to go for a submission, I'm going to release the hip, okay? But I'm still going to control, basically still control the hip, but I'm not going to control the hip directly. What I'm going to do is I'm going to reach down, I'm going to post the wrist, okay? I post the wrist, I have the same thing as I would as if I had the hip, okay? Because I'm eliminating this side of his body by posting the wrist down here. And I'm pushing down on him. So that he can't move the wrist out this way, or he can't move it this way. And if he moves it that way, that's fine, because that's our submission. But I don't want him putting it up here and bringing his knee up, bringing the knee up. Higher. That's a block. Okay, so that's why I want to keep it posted straight. Your knee back out. I want to keep it posted down on the mat. I'm still going to maintain my balance, but I'm going to post up on the wrist. I don't want it to move. The second thing is, I already have my hand here with the elbow against his head to maintain my balance. So I'm already in position to slide this hand underneath the shoulder. Okay, so what I'm going to do is this hand's going to slide underneath. Boom, right here. Now my hand is, I'm planting the palm of my hand on the mat. Okay, after I plant the palm of my hand on the mat, I'm going to pick this elbow up. By picking this elbow up, I'm going to pick his shoulder up. Okay, and this is the start of moving his shoulder towards his wrist, not his wrist towards his shoulder. Because if a guy's strong and he straightens his arm out, we all know Matt's not strong, but if he straightens his arm out, it's going to make it a little tough. It'll make it tougher for me to bend that arm, okay? But it'll make it a lot easier and less work if I was just to post my hand under the shoulder, post this wrist down, and all I'm going to do from here is I'm going to walk around his head. I'm going to pick the shoulder up. His head comes up off the mat. As it comes off the mat, I'm going to walk around. As I walk around, I'm catching his head with my knee. I've still got my balance. If you'll notice, look at the elbow. As I did that, his elbow bent. Okay? Now I'm halfway to getting my submission hold. If I continue to walk around, I'm not letting the wrist move. I'm posting it. As I continue to walk around, the elbow's going to bend more. Okay? The whole thing he's concentrating on is not letting the wrist move to the shoulder. Okay? And I'm not doing that. I'm moving the shoulder to the wrist. He can't stop his shoulder from going that way because I'm moving my hips around his head. And his body's got to go where his head goes. So watch the next move, and I'm going to continue to move around the head, picking the head up with my knee, and continue to drive the head and shoulders towards this wrist and keep it posted. See how that bent? I got him up off the ground. I have control now. I still got him controlled. He can't bridge. He can't roll. He can't do anything there. Now I'm already here. If you see my hands are already here. Okay? Now all I have to do is shoot my hand through. See how I've already got him trapped still? I got the submission hold. Now from here, it's a piece of pie. All I got to do is take the wrist. Then I have my wrist locked over the top of my wrist. Okay? And I got my right wrist locked over the top of his wrist. Let me explain it to you a little bit simpler, because from where you're sitting out there, it looks like just a bunch of wrists locked together. I have my left hand over the top of my right wrist. I have my right hand over the top of his left wrist. So they're interlocked now, but I have 2-on-1. So therefore, I have much more power and more leverage. I have his head up off the mat, I have his elbow bent, and I got his shoulder elevated. So he has no power on his left side. So what I'm going to do from here now is got my submission. I walked around the head, I pushed the shoulder towards the wrist, and I've got the submission. Now I have to apply it. And the way I apply it is I've got to release the head now. Because now that I walked the shoulder to the wrist, now I want to go back the other way. Because what I want to do is turn his wrist underneath his shoulder. And when you see it, you can tell it looks painful, and it is painful. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to release my left knee. I'm going to bring it straight out. Boom. Once it comes straight out, as I still have my balance, it can't be rolled, not that he has any leverage to, but sometimes you get some strong guys. So I still have my leverage. Now, I'm going to pick the shoulder up towards my chin. Okay, now that I picked the shoulder up towards my chin, now I have room to push the wrist out towards his head. And watch, because this here is a good move, and then he'll feel it. You'll hear him tap. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to push out the back door. Out the back door. Boom. Okay? That is what we call a hammerlock. Okay? That is submission 1 from position 2. I'm going to show you another way to enter into this, okay? Because sometimes the guy's not going to lay here for you. Okay? There's a couple different ways that a guy will block. Okay? Roll back towards the camera so that people out there can see what we're doing. No. Just like that. Okay? I showed you a little earlier about the block with the leg. Okay? This is a good block with the leg. Keep your hand out here because you don't want to get it caught inside. That's not very athletic. You want to make sure you protect yourself all the time. Okay? This hand here, the palm of his hand, is going to go on the inside of his thigh, right where that little teardrop muscle is. And he's going to grab it. And that's how you block a hammerlock. But I'm going to show you how to get the hammerlock out and into the submission position from there. Okay? Matt, go ahead and place your hand there. Bring your leg up. Now listen, now that's not, you can't block that way. Okay? Put your hand on there. Bring your legs together. Now you're in a position to block me from getting a hammerlock, right? That's what we want to show the people out there. Okay? So once he puts it here, now in order for me to get the hammerlock, I got to fight through his legs. And the legs are a lot stronger than your upper body. We all know that. Okay? Some of us. Okay? Some of them are Neanderthals and just really strong. But I'm going to show you how to take that hand and move it back into that submission position by going around the leg. Okay? It's going to start the same way. We're going to get in our balanced position. Okay? Hand goes underneath, still the same thing. I'm trapping the head, hands out flat. Okay, I'm not going to keep the elbow down here, okay? I'm going for the wrist now. Okay, now I'm going for submission. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to put my hand over the top of his wrist. Okay? Now he's thinking I'm going for a hammerlock, and he's right. I am going for a hammerlock. But the way he's going to block it is he's going to push his legs together. Okay? Not all the way together, just so that you have a nice little grip there, and I can't take your arm and do this. Okay? But what I'm going to do here, okay, is a little tricky move here. Okay? It's pretty snappy. It's quick. The hand's already here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to yank it towards me this way. Because if you look at it, there's no grip when I pull this way. Is there? No grip. No grip, and his power is not that way. I mean, pulling this way is not a lot of power for him, especially if you quit. Boom. There's no power. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to snap it out, and I'm going to snap it down. Okay? And I'll do it, you know, half speed or whatever here, and I'll slow it down for you. But the way it works is you pull it out, down, now I have a hammerlock. Now, I have to position myself to apply the hammerlock now that I have it. Okay? The same thing. The hands are interlocked. The left hand is over my right hand, and my right hand is over his wrist. Okay? So now from here, I'm going to rotate my hips. I got to rotate my hips because I had to start high up because he'd put a block on, so I had to turn my hips to pull the arm out. Well, now I got to rotate him back down. So as I rotate him, we call this in wrestling a hip heist. Okay? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to shoot it through now. I'm going to pick the shoulder up, boom, and I'm going to shoot the arm and the wrist out behind his head, boom. Okay? As you watch it move again, the hand is going to go sliding up the back and out the back door, and I'm going to pull his shoulder up, which will bring his head up. Okay? A little hint. that you need to watch out for is he still has a hand left behind here. So in reality, he can still post up. As I'm pulling him this way, he can post up and roll me up over, okay? And that's why it's important that anytime you do a submission, that you maintain your balance and your control, even going through the submission. Because you may try the submission and then he feels it coming and he rolls you and now you're in a bad situation. And that's why on the first tape that we stress the balance and control in the 10 positions, okay? It's all starting with the balance and it's all starting with the positioning. And this is where all the submission holds come from, okay? So we've showed you 2 ways to do a hammerlock out of this position, okay? One is the block, okay? The other one is posting it on the mat and walking. And both of them, once you get them clear, both of them, you've got to walk the arm behind the shoulder, okay? So there's one more that I'll show you. It's when a guy locks his hands together, he puts them on his stomach and he locks them. This is a fairly easy one to break because he's already putting it in position for you. The only thing is there's some guys out, like I said, there's a lot of guys out there that are strong and they lock their hands together and it's almost impossible to break them. Well, I'm going to give you a little hint here. You get a big, strong guy and you're not so strong yourself, use your whole body, okay? So what you're going to do is the same thing. You got to get the wrist, okay? So you post the wrist. And every time you do it, just like the leg, you post it. Everything is post because you got to keep your balance. Post, keep your balance. Elbow against the head until you actually go for the submission and you have it. Okay? I have a little air in here. Okay? I'm going to thread the needle. But before I do that, I'm going to post the hand up. I'm going to slide the hand up and I'm going to trap his forearm. Once I trap his forearm, I'm going to come up. I'm going to be a little off balance, but I'm really not. I'm just going to take the pressure off him. And as I come up, take the pressure off him, I'm going to drop the knee on his far arm. And as I drop the knee on his far arm, it'll split the hands. And I'm going to pull the shoulder up at the same time. Okay? So I'm going to come up, drop the knee, and we'll do another angle. I'll get another angle of this. I drop the knee on the arm, which splits it. I still have my balance. I got his head off the mat. Now from here, I still have the wrist trapped. Okay? And I have the arm posted down, so I have good balance here still. If he tries to roll or do whatever, and I slip or whatever, I'm still in good position. From here, he doesn't have the thigh to block with. He doesn't have really his waist to block with because I've done posted it. I got his elbow up, and I got him leaning this way. Okay? So from here, once I have the wrist trapped, or the forearm trapped, I'm picking it up this way. And then after I have it here, I'm locking it as I'm coming down. And the leg traps the head, and I sit, boom, right here. I have the head trapped. He can't go anywhere. I can, do whatever I want from this position. Okay, I can't get rolled that way because he doesn't have a post hand. Okay, this is another way. Just a different, various ways of doing them. It's the same submission hold. It's the same exact submission hold, except there's different ways to block them, and you've got to know how to apply the same submission hold with various blocks. This is position 2, submission 1. Let's go on to position 3. Position 3, submission 1. Like this here is not really a strong submission position. There's a few submissions out of here that we'll show you, but it's not a real strong position. The first thing we'll show you will be a scissor choke. And the way this works is you use your forearms and you're going to clamp down, one on the Adam's apple and the other one behind the neck. It creates a scissor action and cuts off your oxygen. The way we're going to demonstrate is, of course, we've got to get in our position, balance and control position. We'll start from that, and then we'll move in to where we need to be. I'm going to throw my hip pointer on top of his temple. I'm going to rotate my hips over, which will turn his head right here. Creates a lot of pain. You see him coming up a little bit. It does create a lot of pain. If the guy stays here, okay, then obviously you're going to have to work for a submission. Now you can slide down and go for the scissor choke, or, which is a little more difficult and we'll demonstrate in other tapes, is different types of hammer locks and arm bars from this position, or even knee bars. But right now we're going to teach you the simple one. It's going to be a scissor. It's pretty simple. First way it starts off, okay, you got the hip pointer on top of his temple, creating a little pain. He's not rolling. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your right hand, or your left hand, doesn't matter. We're going to demonstrate with the right hand because we want you to see the top hand scissor the Adam's apple. We're going to take the right hand. As we slide the arm down, I'm going to keep my elbow in here because I want to maintain some sort of balance. I'm going to slide my right hand, and you'll see it in the camera as it comes through. I've got it through here. Notice I've lowered my balance because I've done taking one of my tables away. So I'm lowering my balance and I'm moving a little bit more to the left where I have my table. After I get to this position, okay, I'm going to slide down because I can't really sink in a choke being up this high. So I'm going to go ahead and slide down and give up a little position. But as I'm giving up position, I want to go for a submission. So what I do is I go ahead and slide down. Boom. I try and maintain control here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to release, take my elbow out, I'm going to release this block here, and I'm going right for a submission. And the way it works is when I release it, I'm going to pull the hand out, and I'm shooting it. I'm taking this bone, I'm doing this. Boom. I'm going to shoot it in, right here. And as it's right here, I'm going to grab my bicep, and we'll get a different angle on it for you. And I'm going to just lower everything, all my whole weight. It's just like when you're on top, and you're putting a little spot in the middle of the stomach, and you're putting all your weight there. That's what you're going to do with the wrist here, the bony wrist. You're going to put it in a little spot, and you're going to drop all your upper body weight down on his Adam's apple, and it's going to create a tremendous amount of pain, and it's also going to cut off his oxygen. So when you see me sink down, and I drop that bone down on his Adam's apple, you're going to see him tap, you're going to see him start to squirm or try and fight to get out. But in this situation, he's going to tap because we want to demonstrate that it is a submission. So right now, I'm going to go ahead and sink it down. You ready, Matt?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to drop my weight down, and I'm not going to do it quick. I'll do it slow, so Matt has the time to tap, because this is a quick one. You can't just stay here and work this one, because it's got to roll out on you. Here we go. I'm going to sink it. Notice I have my legs spread, though. I'm keeping my balance. I'm going to sink it. Okay? What happens here, I'll give you a little room here to see it. The hand's underneath. I ball it up. Keeps his head up off the mat. I'm basically shooting this in on the bicep. I ball up. What I'm doing is I'm doing a scissor. Just dropping that down right on the Adam's apple. The Adam's apple's right there. Taking this bone, and I'm dropping it right down there. And you put all your weight down there, even if you're 150 pounds, if you can put 50 pounds down on that, the guy's either going to move to get out, and if he can't get out, you're going to choke him out, or the possibility of damaging this Adam's apple. So basically, he either taps or he's going to get out. So it doesn't take a whole tremendous amount of pressure to do this. So all it is a scissor. Bone on the Adam's apple. Boom. Drop the weight on it. Remember, always maintain your balance, because anytime you go for a submission hold, the guy always has a reversal. So always be ready to keep your balance and maintain your control. Okay? There's another one that I do, and that my students don't like too much, because occasionally I'll get them in it, and they call my arms pythons. So when I get it around their neck, they're like, uh-oh. So what we do on this one here is basically the same thing. Okay? I'm going to switch arms because I want you to get a view from this side. And the way it works is, instead of putting the elbow and trapping it in here and blocking the hip, I'm going to reverse it, and I'm going to hook the arm this way. So when I hook the arm this way, I can control his body pretty much, because the other hand is going to shoot around this way. And once I get it this way, I sit down on it. Okay? And once I have it here, it's a matter of time before I start choking him out. Just flexing the bicep. Cuts off the artery. Puts pressure on the back of the neck. Puts pressure on the Adam's apple. And by doing this, if Matt tries to roll towards the camera, Matt, roll, I have him trapped. He can't roll that way. Okay? If he tries to roll towards me, I have my head. So I have him pretty much blocked off. This one's a pretty good submission from here also, but like I said, it's not an easy one to get. this position here is not a strong submission position, but there are submissions from here. And you got to know them because you got to try him if you get there. Because if he stays there, you got to try and finish him. Most of the time, the guy's going to roll, and when he rolls, there'll be other submissions for that. Mikey's going to demonstrate a chest sweep. It's another agility drill, one of them that we're going to show you. This one here helps build the shoulders, the arms, the back, the hamstrings, and it's good for the agility movement on the grounds, moving in and out of submission positions. Mike, please show another angle. If you'll see, when he does it, he starts out in an arc position, and he drops his nose, his chest, and his pelvis all in a line and sweeps the bottom of the mat. Comes back up to the starting position. Thank you, Mike. For beginners, you would do 10 to 15 reps for 2 sets. For intermediate, you would do 25 for 2 sets. And for advanced, you would do 50 for 2 sets. The next drill we're going to show you is what we call donkey sit-ups. I particularly like this one because both people are working. As you see, Matt will straddle, sit, put his legs in Mike's thighs to maintain his balance, and he will do a sit-up. Mikey will post with his head, which will be working his neck, his arms, and his lower back. Matt, which is on top, is doing a sit-up. But he's not only working his abs, he's working his thighs and his calves because he has to maintain his balance by hooking inside of Mike's thighs. This is great for another agility drill, working in and out of submissions. Thank you, gentlemen. Let's move on to the next exercise. These are drills here to help you control your balance and your body while you're in grappling and moving in and out of submissions. Please begin, Matt. This is what we call an agility roll. Hands out front, comes up. Mike does the same thing. Notice how the hands move out in front to protect his body and maintain his balance. This is an agility roll, but it's going to do it reverse, backwards. Same angle, same situation. Just right up. Always move the hands out in front. It helps you keep your balance. This is a cartwheel. It looks easy, but to get your feet straight over and come straight down where your hand's at is pretty difficult. Thank you, gentlemen. For beginners, on each of these exercises, you will do 10 to 15 reps, 2 sets. For intermediate, you will do 25 for 2 sets. And for advanced, you will do 30 for 2 sets. On behalf of the Lions Den family, we'd like to thank you for joining us in our fighting style. Thanks.